Hello everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be here amongst you. And I'd like to thank Tracy. I know that Tracy's been leading for the longest time and trying to bring women of diverse backgrounds together to really learn from each other and create that synergies that are needed in our communities. So I'm here in my capacity as a business owner for Viva Salon and Spa and for Viva Cafeterias. You know, at my everyday job, that's where I spend lots of my time as the CEO of the Alberta School Board Association. I'm a mother of 3 children. My daughter Brianna, who is 22, my son Michael, who is 19, and my youngest Nick, who is 17. I've been in Canada for 25 years, I think 24, 25 years. Very grateful and thankful for the opportunities here, and I visit back home, which is Lebanon, quite often, because what I learn here I like to actually share it there and support there as much as I can. So this is who I am, and I love those connections in the community because they keep me closer to my roots where I started as an immigrant, and I continue to grow and be who I am now.
It will be the last one. Okay, my name is Barry Mamadou. Thank you, Tracy, for inviting me. First, I moved here 10 years ago from a country called Guinea. It's in West Africa. First thing, I was in Montreal, and then I decided to learn English. I moved here back in 2009. And went to Grand McEwan and studied insurance and risk management program at Grand McEwan University, and started working at Intact as an underwriter. And then in 2006, I have my franchise as a broker. So I work in the insurance industry. If you want to insure your car, we can talk about it. But also since 2009, I'm very involved in our community. Now I'm the president of Guinean Association of Edmonton, helping immigrants, getting to know each other, organizing events, a lot of activities, and I'm always getting, involved in activity and helping each other. And today I'm here to learn as anybody else. And yes, so if you have any more questions, I'm here.
Janis Irwin. I'm an MLA, a member of the Legislative Assembly for the area of Edmonton, Highlands, Norwood, which is just sort of east of downtown. It includes Boyle Street, Macaulay, Alberta Avenue, Highlands, and a few other wonderful neighborhoods. And I was elected in April of this year, so I'm a new MLA along with my colleague Rakhi, who will introduce herself as well. And prior to being a politician, I was a teacher many years ago in rural Alberta and a vice principal as well. And then I moved to Edmonton to work with Alberta Education, so to work with the province on curriculum, and so I had a pretty good background in education, and ran for office once before in 2015 in the federal election, and I was unsuccessful, but I kept involved and decided to run again, and was successful this time in the 2019 provincial election. And so I'm really happy to be here. Tracy has been an amazing female leader for years, and I'm always really happy to support her, and particularly her emphasis on promoting marginalized voices, promoting the voices of women of color. I know one of the things I appreciate about her is she's had me involved before, and for me, being a member of the LGBTQ2S+ community is really important, because I think we share some of those intersections, and we share some struggles. And so I just want to give a shout out to Tracy, because I think she's done some incredible work. And so thanks for having me here.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Rakhi Pancholi. I'm the MLA for Edmonton Whitemud, which is the southwest side of the city. Some of you might know it as Riverbend. That's kind of the area that I represent. Like Janis, I am newly elected as well. I was just elected in April, and this is my first term. It was actually my first time running, although certainly politics has been something I've been interested in for a long time, and often thought that I would like to run for political office, but didn't know when and how that would actually happen. It did take place kind of sort of suddenly for me. I practiced law for 13 years. I grew up in Edmonton. My parents are actually immigrants to Canada from Tanzania and from India. And I lived here most of my life. I studied in Toronto, I've studied in South Africa, I lived in England a little bit. I've done a little bit of all that, but I'm essentially an Edmontonian. And I practice law here, and then I have 2 young kids who are aged 4 and 6. And I didn't really think that now would be the time that I would run for office, although I look at Catherine over here and she's telling me about the 5 kids she had, and I thought, well, she could do it. I don't know what I was complaining about with young kids. But really, for me, it was a moment in time, that the perfect storm is how I like to describe it, my decision to run for office. I've often been very active in volunteer work and actively promoting, particularly getting more women involved in politics. It's something I'm very passionate about. And when I was approached to run for office, I kind of thought, well, you know what? I've been encouraging women for years to get involved in politics, and now somebody's asking me. It's time for me to put my money where my mouth is, and show that it's possible, and it's hard work, but it's really important that we not only that women are well represented, but as Janis said, diverse groups, marginalized groups. We really need to have people that are making decisions that reflect our communities. And not just in politics. Politics is the most obvious way that gets a lot of attention, but one of the privileges of this job that I've already discovered is meeting so many powerful community leaders and activists and people who are changing the world in their organizations, in their communities, in their schools. And so when I was invited to be here, this is probably one of the best parts of this role, is getting to meet so many interesting people who are changing their communities and changing their worlds where they are. So this is as much for me to learn from you as it is for me to talk about my experience. So thanks for having me. There's lessons I've learned along the way that have helped me. And one I'd say, and I feel like I'm kind of boring compared to your life, the life you've led. But one of the things I've reflected on quite a bit is that I think what has helped me as I've gone along is I have a pretty good comfort level with not having to be the best at something the first time, like when you first do it. There's, I think, this sense that you feel like I can't take that challenge on, or I can't do that because I wish I knew more, I wish I was more educated, I wish I had more experience and all of that. And I think what has really benefited me is sort of leaping first and trusting that I will figure it out and I will learn what I need to learn, and being okay with the fact that it's going to take me a while to get there. I think that there's been a lot of times that I'm in a deep learning curve right now. I've been a politician for 6 months. Every day, and people ask us, I'm sure to ask Janis as well, you know, what's your life like, or where's your day? It changes every day. And I'm very quickly learning what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. Rather than being discouraged by the things that I'm not good at, I think, well, I've got to work on that. And it's also okay to not be good at all of it. You find your strengths and you focus on those things. And so I think I would say I'm glad that I've taken the time, at least in my professional journey, to be okay with a little bit of uncertainty, to be okay with I'm going to have to figure this out, because I had sort of an innate confidence that I would. And if I didn't do well at it, I'm a person who says, well, not everybody can be good at everything. So if I'm not excelling or doing well at something, that's just not the right thing for me. It doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean I'm not good enough. It doesn't mean I should not continue. It just means this isn't the right thing for me, because I have confidence that I have a skill set in certain areas. So I've got to move on to something that I am excelling at, and it'll take some work. And that's okay. So to be okay with